and then the Second World War.
In 1940, the Europeans started their war and drew Africans into it. When the war ended in 1945, they returned to their villages. In Uganda, those who survived belonged to the 7th Battalion of King's African Rifles, named the Abaseveni. It was at that time that a son was born to Amos Kaguta and Esteriko Kundeka. They named him Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. The young Museveni was raised in a strict and rich pastoral culture of the Banyankole Bahima nomads of Western Uganda during the turbulent post-World War II era. From his recollections, his birth was heralded by major events in the region: a mass vaccination of cattle against Red Pest, the death of a king, the Omugabe of Ankole Kahaya II, and the installation of another a year later. As a young boy, his grandmother wanted Museveni to wear calf skin, but Mzee Kaguta bought clothes which the boy wore through the various schools in Muyongo, Mushenyi, Kyenkobe, and Chamate. It was during his time at Chamate that Museveni met Elia Kategaya, Martin Mwesiga, who later became his colleagues in the struggle. At Chamate, Museveni also met Janet Kataha, who he later married and played a key role in Museveni's family and political life. Museveni had a photographic memory that earned him a place at Mbarara Junior School and subsequently into Ntare School. Mr. John Baptist Kawanga is a practicing lawyer and former member of parliament who studied with Museveni both at Ntare and Dar es Salaam University.
I arrived on a Friday afternoon at Ntare School and asked for the headmaster in the evening. And the boys told me, "Why do you want him?" I said, "I've just been admitted to this school. I want to come in." The boys told us, "You go to the notice board." I went to Mbaguta house, and then they showed me my bed in one of that dormitory. Now in Mbaguta house was also one other young man, Yoweri Museveni. And then after about 2 weeks, there were supposed to be elections for History Society, Debating Society. I speak for myself, and the entire school boys get excited. They elect me secretary for History Society, and Museveni is president, History Society. So that's how we started.
First met Museveni in 1961. I was then in S3 and he came in S1. A very religious and devoted Christian. And he was a member of the Scripture Union. And we first met in the Debating Society, the Ntare School Debating Society, where I was active and where he too was active.
Kategaya became president, Debating Society, and then a host of other people. In the same class, I think we had Ruzindana, who has been at IGG and so many things. It was also the same class.
Ntare School was a non-denominational public school which exposed Museveni to a truly national community of students.
Ntare School had pupils from all over the country, and not only from Uganda, but also across from Tanzania, and also students from Rwanda. So it was a cosmopolitan school. For the first time in my experience, I discovered that the Karamajong also go to school. Because of the negative propaganda against them, I thought now Karamajong ever goes to school. But there, I found Mr. Roll, who eventually became, I think, permanent secretary. And I thought that if we wanted to build a Uganda nation,
as the official opposition, 1985, Obote was once again overthrown by his army chief, General Tito Okello Lutwa. Trying to make peace with the rebels, General Tito Okello called a peace conference in neighboring Kenya to decide on the political future of the country. An agreement was subsequently signed as fighting flared out.
In the past few weeks, the NRA has pushed northwards.
On January 26, 1986, the NRA fought its way into Kampala and the military junta fled. A new leader, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, was sworn in as president. This is our story. A journey back 26 years of a man whose entire life has been dedicated to restoring a country's pride and name. His courage to face the staggering task of restoring peace and prosperity to a bleeding nation devastated by army brutalities, government corruption, and economic decline made his life some kind of enigma.
Nobody should think that what is happening today, or what has been happening in the last few days, is a mere change of guards. This is not a mere change of guards. I think this is a fundamental change in the politics of our country. Because in Africa we have seen so much change that change has become meaningless. It's no longer change but merely turmoil. This group getting rid of that group and that group doing worse than the group it got rid of. Now, please, I do not count us in that category of people. The National Resistance Movement, I think, is a clear-headed movement with clear objectives.
In recognition of the National Resistance Movement efforts to return peace to Uganda, the United Nations rescheduled the World Peace Torch First Earth Run to pass through Uganda. The torch was received at State House, Entebbe.
It is an honor that Uganda was selected as one of the stop points for this torch, which is going around the world to signify the world's desire for peace. We in Uganda have fought for peace for a very long time. We have not known peace for very many years. And in the process of the absence of peace, we lost approximately 800,000 Ugandans killed by the governments that were in power here. But through our own efforts, through the sacrifices of our youth, through the sacrifices of our population as a whole, we have been able to throw out of power those agents of war and oppression who were here. And we are on the move to ensure that we guarantee peace in Uganda forever, so that our children live in peace and they are able to develop the resources of their country.
The NRM government used its 10-point program to achieve these objectives. These series of programs chronicle the above achievements of the presidency during the last 26 years from 1986 to 2013.
Today